Good morning. This is December the 6th, Friday, 2024. We are in BBIS first semester compulsory English class. We started reading the research paper on women's entrepreneurship and culture yesterday. Yesterday in the first session, we tried to analyze the title, and we found that the title has two key terms in the first part. One, women's entrepreneurship, another, culture. And we saw that the research paper tries to understand how culture affects women's ability to do business. And as we analyze the subtitle, or not subtitle, but what came after the colon in the title, we saw that there were three phrases. One was gender role expectations and identities. And we understood that gender role expectations and gender identities affect women's abilities to do business. Then, in the second phrase, we read how societal culture affects women's ability to do business. Then, in the third phrase, we read how how the entrepreneurial environment affects women's ability to do business. Then, though we didn't pay attention much to this figure, so we can see the three themes of this research paper. And we also read that this is the major theme of the paper. That's why you will see in the paper a larger number of paragraphs discuss this theme. Few paragraphs discuss this one, and few discuss this one. So, if you want to keep the paper, the ideas in memory, you can use this figure. For example, you can keep these phrases, words in your mind. For example, under gender role expectations and identities, for example, how stereotyping affects women's ability to do business. What is stereotyping? The assumption, for example, that women are shy. And when people assume that women are shy, then if a woman is not shy, she is frank like a boy or a man, then people perceive this as something wrong with her. And they criticize that woman, saying that she is a deviant from the norm. Women are not like her. So they might say, oh, she is more like a man. Even one might criticize, oh, she is a tom girl, kind of thing. And such stereotyping, such notions make it difficult for women to come out of their homes and do business. So, like that, you can analyze all these. I won't go into them right now. I'll read the paper. Because my purpose in this class is to show you how to read. I'm doing it on purpose. I know this class may be lengthy. I know this class may be boring, dull, but I'm doing it on purpose because you are in college, you are at the university, you must know how to read academic writing like a research paper. Research papers are the best examples of academic writing at the university. And research papers are also one of the most challenging kind of writing that we have to read at the university. If you paid attention, if you read at home, I don't know, you will see that luckily this research paper is organized using lots of headings and subheadings. There are a lot of headings and subheadings, like here is one heading, gender role expectations and identities, number 2. If you go back and see what's in number 1, you will see that number 1 is about, I guess, introduction, as you can see. So all these subheadings have been numbered in this paper. Maybe there's 7 or more than 7. Now such numbered headings and subheadings, they help you navigate the terrain of the paper. They are like milestone on the highway. You know exactly where you are. You know how far you have come. You know how far you have to go. You won't find such milestones or headings and subheadings in all papers, you know. Some writers of research paper, they do not prefer, or in some faculties, in some disciplines, the tradition is that they don't put headings and subheadings. Like for example, in literature, if you read a research paper in literature, you may not find headings and subheadings like that, right? Okay, so we read the first section yesterday, the abstract. Then we read the introduction, 6 paragraphs. And in the introduction, at the end of first paragraph, I showed you the thesis statement. And I analyzed the thesis statement for you. And then in paragraph 2 to 6 introduction, I showed you how the writers talk about previous research, prior research. And I showed you how that paragraph 2 to 6 presents a very short literature review about what has been studied in this area. And I also talked about concepts like knowledge gap, research gap, etc. Now, I'm entering the body of the research paper. The body, the main part of this, the most important part of the research paper. You know, the body of the research paper may present why this happens, I don't understand. A line like that comes. This is happening only these later boards. Okay. The body may present analysis of the data, right? Mostly body contains data analysis. And it may also present key findings, right? Sometimes the analysis is done outside the paper. It is not presented there. Only finding is presented. Because, for example, your analysis may take 50 pages, whereas your paper is allowed to have only, let's say, 10 pages. So what do? You bring the 50 page, you summarize the 50-page analysis in 5 pages, or let's say 3 pages, with table and graph, and you present the finding only, right? Let's read. So we are in paragraph 7. I have numbered all the paragraphs. Maybe the copy you have doesn't have numbering, because last year I didn't number like that, but this year I numbered. So we are entering the body paragraph, and as you see, there are 3 themes, and the body section begins with the first major theme: gender role expectations and identities. And what we are reading now is how gender role expectations and identities affect women's business. That is the topic. How gender role expectations and identities affect women's business. Rather than summarizing the ideas to you, I'll read line by line, sentence by sentence, and I'll explain. It may be lengthy, boring, but you have to have patience and listen to me, because I'm showing you how to read. Because I want you to read like this in future when you become a researcher. That's how we read. You know, I repeatedly say you, the most important thing at college is reading in any subject. Nothing happens at the university if you don't know how to read. Move ahead. Research has shown that women often experience bias stemming from expectations of female leadership styles and perceptions of how they lead in practice. Okay, so as I read at home, for example, I found this word bias, and I just Googled and wrote the meaning. This is what I do. Whenever I find a key word in paragraph I'm reading, important word, I don't depend on my hunch about meaning. I check the dictionary and I write the meaning to make sure I know clear meaning of the keyword, because this is a very important word. So women experience bias. What is bias? A prejudice or unfair preference, this is or, towards or against someone. Bias is, suppose I am Brahmin by caste, and somebody here in this class also has surname as Upadhyay. My surname is Upadhyay, and someone's surname is Upadhyay. Now, if you find that I favor a lot that student, this is a racial bias. What I'm doing, I am showing preference, unfair preference to a particular student, for particular student, and that my liking, my preference is based on race, caste, last name. This is not good. Bias is never good. Bias can be for, bias can be against. Suppose, just imagine, my example may be disturbing, I don't know, because sometimes I'm scared too, but I'll say, suppose I am a Hindu by religion, and can I get the attendance? She has come to collect it. I am a Hindu, and just a minute. And suppose he is a Muslim, just for example. Now, you feel that Divakar sir, while teaching, shows a dislike of that student. You feel that Divakar sir many times discriminates against him. Then this is bias against him. So bias can be for, bias can be against. But bias is based on prejudice or unfair preference. What is prejudice? Prejudice is an idea that is not founded on proper evidence. For example, many Muslim people, now why many? All Muslim people, they will wash their hands like this. They put water and they rinse their hands down to up. This is the movement of washing hands in Muslim culture. They will wash like this, right? Muslims. They will not have a pigtail as I do have. They will have beard, right? Now, I gave you two examples to show opposite characteristics between Muslims and Hindus, right? Now, if I start thinking that the Muslims are wrong, the Muslims are bad, just on the basis that I wash hands like this, they wash hands like this, I keep pigtail, they keep beard. Now, this is a prejudiced idea. This is a prejudice. This is prejudice. The Nepali word for prejudice is purvagraha. Purvagraha. Forming an opinion about someone or something which is not founded on fact. an opinion not founded on fact. Research has shown that women often experience bias stemming from expectations of female leadership style. Below we will read, below in some paragraph, we will read how women behave when they are in leadership position. The way women lead is very different from the way men lead. For example, if a woman is a leader, she always looks for harmonious relationship with other people. Whereas if a man is a leader, the man always places himself in competition against other people. Men go for competition. Women go for cooperation. The argument says. So if you have a woman leader, she will probably not fight with another country. But if you have a male leader, chances are they will fight. There is a beautiful story in your book, New Directions. Wonderful story. I'll recommend you read it today or tomorrow. You will understand this point better. The story's title is The Princess and the Admiral. There is a beautiful story in your book, New Directions, Chapter 4, Gender. Chapter 4, Gender, additional reading. Chapter 4, New Directions, Chapter 4, Gender. In additional reading, there is a story. The name of the story title is The Princess and the Admiral. It is a story about an island which was ruled by a woman. And the story shows how a woman never goes to war. And how even if men raise war, a woman brings peace in the society. Right? So women as leaders are peaceful, the argument is. Okay. Bias stemming from expectations of female leadership styles and perceptions of how they lead in practice. Actually, you know, people expect that as a leader, a woman will be peaceful, a woman will be submissive, a woman will be shy. That's what we expect. Now, in practice, now when they show, let's say, assertiveness as a leader, when they show assertiveness as a leader, then we start criticizing women, saying, oh, that's not how she should behave. And while reading this section, you know, last night, the thought that came to my mind was the recent American elections where Kamala Harris was contesting against Donald Trump. And I began to wonder why Kamala Harris lost the election. One reason I thought is this one, gender role expectations of leadership. And you know, people must have compared Donald Trump with Kamala Harris. Now, you can never compare Donald Trump and Kamala Harris because Donald Trump, you know, Donald Trump once, if I am not wrong, was a wrestler. Trump was a wrestler. You Google and check. Trump was a wrestler. And wrestlers are the most violent kind of males on the ring. How can you compare a wrestler with a mother? So maybe the voters compared Trump's wrestler kind of masculinity with Kamala Harris's nurturing masculinity. And they thought, oh, Kamala can't lead America. We need somebody like... I talked to some people through messaging, and they said that though they don't like Trump, but they will vote for Trump. I asked why? Then they said, he is the guy who can lead America because he has the power. Particularly when he was shot in a program, he was shot with a bullet and he was saved. And look how he did. He raised his fist like this. I never forget that image on television. He was shot with a bullet. He didn't show fear. He showed courage. Then people said, oh, he is the guy. And that was one moment when Joe Biden had to step down. Because, you know, people began to compare the old Joe Biden losing memory with Donald Trump, right? So the point we are making is we have expectations about how a male should behave and how a female should behave. And these expectations encourage us to say that, oh, you are a woman, don't come in business, right? Okay, role incongruity theory. What is role in congruity theory. Let me read here. Let me read this idea. Now let me tell one thing. In research, now I'm telling you something very difficult. I'm telling you something very challenging thing in research. In future, when you go for research, then you have a problem. Okay, you have a problem, no doubt. You have data. And now you say, Divakar sir, I have my issue. I know my issue. I have collected data. Now I want to analyze my data. Or I want to interpret my data. Now the challenge is what framework or theory are you going to use to analyze your data? This question will come. No data analysis is possible without a theory. That's why in research we need theory. Now I'm telling you. I hadn't told you yesterday. I didn't tell you yesterday. Now I'm telling you that in research we need theoretical insight. Why do we need theory? To guide our understanding of the data. Theory guides and supports our understanding of the data. Let me show you this thing before I read this definition. Let me show you this line. And I want to make you understand how theory functions in analysis. Read this line. Role in congruity theory. Now the writer brings a theory. What theory? Role in congruity theory. We will read in a while what that theory is. Holds that, now read here, individuals often find incongruities between their ideas of leadership and their female gender role expectations. For example, suppose I am an ordinary person in society. So, Divakar, as an ordinary fellow, he has female gender role expectation as, like, I expect that a woman is not courageous. I may be wrong, I may be right. But I believe that a woman is not courageous. Then I believe she is not strong physically. Then I believe that she cannot fight physically. Then I believe that she is too kind. She can't be strict. Then I believe that she can't be she can't be cunning. She can't be cunning. She can't be scrupulous. My spelling is maybe doubtful. I'm not sure about spelling. My spelling may be wrong. So I associate these qualities with a woman. Female gender role expectation. Now, if you ask me, Divakar sir, what qualities do you look in a leader? Then I will say, a leader should be very cunning, dhurta, like our leaders. Otherwise, because politics is defeating your enemy anyway, right? A leader should be chameleon, who changes color every hour. My spelling is doubtful. The chameleon, the chameleon is an animal that is known for changing color. Look, our leaders, today they are aligned with one party, tomorrow they are aligned with another party. Chameleon. A leader should be courageous. A leader should be very strict. Now, I associate these qualities with leadership. And I don't find these qualities with women. Now, if I see a woman rising as a leadership, I will say, no. She is not cunning. She is she is credulous, she believes whatever people say. Oh, she is not chameleon, she is very honest. Honesty doesn't work in business. Then I will say, oh, she can't do business. Now come to this theory. What does the writer do? He brings a theory, role congruity theory. And he clearly tells what the theory maintains. Listen carefully. I am teaching you something very difficult and which 80-90% of researchers are not able to do. It's a big challenge to teach students how to apply theory. Read here. So they mention the theory. Fine, step 1. Then they tell what the theory maintains. Here holds that individuals often find incongruities between their ideas of leadership and their female gender role expectations. Now this is theoretical insight. Now move ahead. Now see this continuous idea marker. This means individuals finding incongruities between their ideas of leadership and their female gender expectation. This means the mismatch between female gender expectation and leadership role expectation. This means the mismatch between female gender expectation and leadership role expectation. I repeat again last time. The word this means the mismatch between female gender role expectation and leadership role expectation. As I showed you here, leadership requires courage. Female gender expectation is she is too timid, not courageous. Now move ahead. This leads to discrimination when women are viewed less favorably than men as potential leaders because expected behaviors for their gender roles are inconsistent with attributions of leadership. Now look here. Pay attention very carefully. This is the theory. Right? Now this part is conclusion drawn in light of the above theory. This is conclusion. You can also call this as interpretation. This is interpretation. Or you can say this is analysis. To analyze your data, you need theory. For example, just ask Divakar sir, what will happen? Just imagine that we remove this line. We remove this line. We remove this line, the theory line. Just say we remove. Okay, imagine there is no mention of the theory. And then you draw the conclusion. Now the problem is, your reader will say, on what basis are you drawing this conclusion? Because this is what you are saying. And what you say does not gain credibility unless you back up with some scholars, famous people, or some theory. Why are you bringing theory? To make your analysis credible, to make your analysis acceptable, to make your analysis trustworthy. That's why if you remove this theory, this analysis will be uncredible. It won't be acceptable. Move ahead. This leads to discrimination when women are viewed as less favorably than men as potential leaders because expected behaviors for their gender roles are inconsistent with attributions of leadership. Now, look here, Eagley and Karau 2002. This idea that I have colored in yellow, this is a conclusion of these writers. But this conclusion of these writers is based on a study done by Eagley and Karau in another resource. So these writers are depending on Eagley and Karau to reach this conclusion. This is called synthesis in research. Let me write a very key word. Please understand. What is synthesis? Using two elements to make a new third element. Synthesis is you mix two elements, two things, and you make a third thing. Now, this conclusion is theirs, these authors. But this conclusion is created using Oakley and Prime et al.'s ideas as well as Eagley and Karau's ideas. To arrive at this conclusion, the writers have used 1, 2, 3, 4 writers' ideas. By combining the ideas of 4 scholars, they arrive at this conclusion. So this conclusion is the synthesis of their ideas. And the most difficult skill that a researcher requires is the ability to synthesize what other people have said and come up with your own idea. This is the most difficult thing in research. Listening to other people, reading to other people, and making your own idea. Now, just a second, read what is that incongruity theory. I just used Google Gemini to derive this theory. Let's read quickly. Role incongruity theory means when a person's characteristics don't align with the stereotypical expectations for a particular role. I'm a male, so traditionally you expect me to be brave and courageous, but you see that I'm very shy and timid. Then what happens? They may be evaluated more negatively. And then you will say, oh, Divakar sir is more like a woman. You may view wrongly, negatively, and you might say, oh, Divakar sir can't be in the army. Though he is biologically male, but by behavior he is timid, shy, submissive, afraid, scared, too kind. He can't kill the enemy. In context of female leadership, this theory proposes that, pay attention, women are often perceived as less suitable for leadership roles. Why? Because traditional gender role leadership quality with equates leadership with masculinity. As a result, women who exhibit leadership behaviors that are stereotypically associated with men may face backlash or criticism. When women want to show strength like men, then they might say, oh, she is more masculine. Why vote for Kamala? If you need a strong leader, vote for Trump. That idea may come. Because Trump has the tall body, Trump has the muscular body, Trump was the wrestler, Trump has all the courage, Trump, look how Trump speaks, right? So this is what theory? Role incongruity theory. To put it simply, role incongruity means when women come in the role of business leadership, you are not ready to accept them because you expect them to show feminine behavior. And you say feminine behavior is not suitable for leadership in business. For example, at my home, I have a kirana shop, and now I'll give example. It is run by husband and wife. And early morning around 5, husband takes the motorcycle and goes to Macha Pokhari and brings vegetables. The wife never goes to Macha Pokhari because she does not know how to ride the bike. She is not trained for that. What the wife does, the wife sits on a chair in the shop and she just hands over the items. Now in the evening, who does the hisab kitab the whole day? The husband does the hisab kitab. Because it is thought that only the husband can calculate the day's calculation. See the gender role expectation. Move ahead. Research has, okay, we were here, right? Prejudice also happens when prescribed behaviors filled by a leader are viewed less favorably when they are enacted by a woman. When a woman does what a man does, they might think she is not female, not male, she is the other. Have you seen the word other? Suppose a woman behaves like a man. She does horse riding. She takes part in boxing. She plays basketball. She wears shorts. She keeps very short hair. Then people might say, oh, she is not woman. Wrongly. People might think, because people have this wrong conception that woman means submissive, shy kind of lady. The result is that, now look here, up to here, this is the evidence. Now this blue color, the result is that attitudes toward female leaders are less positive, which in turn creates barriers for women becoming leaders, achieving leadership success. This is the conclusion. This is the conclusion of the paragraph, right? This is the main idea. And this conclusion or main idea is expressed with a phrase, the result is that. You could say the conclusion is that. You could say therefore. And do you see, if you see very carefully, see how writing is done, because I'm also helping you understand writing. Look here, this last sentence, the result is that attitudes towards female leaders are less positive. And read this line. Women often experience bias stemming from expectations of female leadership. Women often experience bias. This clause and attitudes towards female leaders are less positive. They have same meaning. They have same meaning. The concluding sentence repeats the idea in the opening sentence. In a good paragraph, in a good writing, conclusion is the reiteration of the main idea in the topic sentence. Topic sentence says, women experience bias. Conclusion echoes the same idea. Women are viewed less positive, which in turn creates barriers. Look here, which creates barriers for women becoming leaders and achieving leadership success. Look, we spent a long time reading a single paragraph. I'm sorry for that, because I want to make you understand many things about reading, about writing, about thought. But the sorry thing is that I'm not making you read, I'm showing you knowingly. I'm doing it on purpose. Move ahead. Paragraph 8. When a specific type of person is repeatedly seen engaging in a particular activity, like men in leadership positions, individuals tend to associate the abilities and attributes needed for that activity as typical of that specific type of person. Look, imagine, since history, all politicians were female. Imagine. then you will normally think females can be leaders, no problem. But because since time immemorial, even in Mahabharata, Draupadi was, look how she was insulted. Duryodhan, Karna, Bhishma, look that Sabha, all male, insulting one woman. Since time immemorial, women have been tortured, discriminated, right? Women have been exploited. So we start thinking that women can't do certain things because we have seen no woman doing that. Here, I'll recommend the girls in this class as well as the boys, if you find time, read a wonderful book. When you find time, it will change your life. The book's name is The Second Sex. This was written in 1948. You might think, why read 60-year-old books? But it is written by Simone, I can't spell the name correctly. De Beauvoir, I pronounce Beauvoir, it's a French word. Simone de Beauvoir was a French feminist thinker and philosopher. And in that book, Simone de Beauvoir says, a woman is not born. She is culturally created. A woman is not born. She is culturally created. No, you girls in this class, look, if sometimes I compare Brahmin girls with a Tamang girl in my classroom. I do compare. And I often see, I may be wrong, I'm not generalizing, that many Tamang girls are frank, courageous, bold, whereas Brahmin girls are more submissive, timid, and ask a question. Then my mind says that in Brahmin family there is more control upon girl child in comparison to maybe Gurung family, Rai family. That's why Rai girls are stronger socially than the Brahmin girl, right? So she argues, read that book, because I was reading this line. You know what happens? She says, I want to hunt, go hunting. Her parents will say, no, you shouldn't, it's dangerous. So she grows up without hunting. At one point, she is 17, 18. Now she says, Daddy, I'm 19, I want to go hunting in Dhorpatan reserve area. Now Daddy will say, you can't hunt. See the politics. First your parents say, don't hunt, don't hunt, don't hunt. Then they say you can't hunt. See the politics against women. What is the politics against women? First they prevent you from doing something. Don't do, don't do, don't do, don't do. Then they say you can't do, can't do, can't do, can't do. You can't do. This is the dangerous politics. I want to study mathematics, you are a girl. I want to study physics. Don't study, don't study. Then they will say you can't study. When you don't do something over a time, people may have the wrong impression that you can't do. Because you never did that. But if you try, there is nothing that women cannot do what men do. Rather, there are things which women do, men cannot do. Women can bear a baby and deliver. Can men bear a baby and deliver? I'm sorry with this funny example. There are things which women can do, but men cannot do. By nature they cannot do. But our culture does injustice to women. How? First it says, do not do this, do not do this, do not do this. Then it says, you cannot do this. When you are a daughter and you come home late, you are a child, they will teach you. Chori, timi sani chau, andarama hinne hoina, ratima hinne hoina, and you believe, and you don't walk in night. You grow 19, then you want to come late one day, they will say, no, you can't. First don't, then you can't. This is the politics against women. Right? So when somebody says, don't do something, do it. When someone says, don't do it. When someone constantly says, don't do it and see what happens. That will grow you, move ahead. When a specific type of person is repeatedly seen engaging in a particular activity, like men in leadership positions, individuals tend to associate the abilities and attributes needed for that activity as typical of that specific type. For example, Divakar sir, look here. I have a job. I earn money. Right? I earn money. My wife didn't have a job, didn't earn money. Now the tradition is that, what tradition teaches you? If you are a female, stay home, raise children and nurture children. Don't go for a job. If you are a male and you don't have a job, people will criticize you. If you are a male, there's a novel, wonderful line I forget, a wonderful novel, The Great Gatsby. In that novel, there is a hero, I forgot his name. He is 28 by age and his hairline is receding. And at 28, with a receding hairline, the hero neither has a girlfriend nor has a job. Then the novelist comments that at 28, neither girlfriend nor job, he is not a man, he says. He is not a man, he is a woman. Because a man, a male, is expected to have a girlfriend and have a job and a briefcase with money at 28. A woman at 28 is expected to be cozy, following the man's hand in parties like a butterfly and walk around. I may be right, I may be wrong. Right? Gender expectations. Move ahead. A phenomenon referred to as think leader, think male mindset. What is that? Read here. The think leader, think male phenomenon refers to unconscious association that many people have between leadership and masculine trait. When the Americans saw Donald Trump being shot by a bullet very close by and just bending his head and then raising the fist, challenging the shooter, they associated that only such a man can lead, right? This means that when people envision a leader, they often picture someone with characteristics traditionally associated with men, such as assertiveness. A leader should be assertive. A leader should be decisive, take decision on time. A leader should be competitive. This phenomenon can have a significant impact on women in leadership because women are more cooperative, less assertive. Women, many times one might say, do not take quick decisions. Women are more cooperative, less competitive. Women who exhibit traditionally masculine leadership styles may be perceived as aggressive or unlikable, while those who display more feminine traits may be seen as less competent or effective as a leader. This can create a double bind situation. What is double bind situation? Women, either way they behave, they are not liked as a leader. For women leaders, where they are often damned if they do and damned if they don't have these qualities. This phenomenon is rooted in deep-seated gender stereotypes and biases that have been perpetuated for centuries. While progress has been made in challenging these stereotypes, the think leader, think male mindset still persists in many organizations and societies. Just look China and look Xi Jinping and read his biography and read how Xi Jinping was raised as a leader. He is leading 1 billion people. He is leading the most powerful country in the world today. Look at Modi. He married, left his wife, no children, no family. Look at Tyag, he says. Look at Xi Jinping. Look at Obama. Look at Nelson Mandela. So you will see that we associate certain qualities with leadership. And we expect women not to have those qualities. And even if they have those qualities, we criticize. Oh, you are a woman, you shouldn't be like that. Move ahead. Look how we read. Think leader, think male mindset. So this mindset creates problems for women owning and running their own business. Sex role stereotyping now, another. Next, if you see such words, mark them and understand. What is sex role stereotyping? If you are a woman, I expect you to cook food at home. You are a woman, and I expect you to stay home, raise children, nurture children, cook food, and make food ready when I reach home. But if you say, no, I want to have a job, I'm not comfortable. Right? Sex role stereotyping happens when men are, what is that? Understand? When men are respected more in business. Look, see the structure of FNCCI, Federation of Nepalese Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And you will see that if there are 10 members, 9 will be male. See Nepalese cabinet. If there are 20 ministers, 19 will be male. Army chief male, police chief male, Sashastra male, college principal male, mayor male. Have you seen? In all top positions, who is occupying the position? The male. Roles, because how many female teachers come in your class? No one. Look, see the academy. In the last 8 years, here also, I have rarely seen females, ladies as teachers. Only 1 or 2, right? Because they are believed to possess the masculine traits that are deemed necessary for. The very word leader is a masculine term. The very word leader is a masculine term. I remember one friend who was advertising admission time, and he said, join our college, we'll make you leader. And the picture he put was the lion's head. Not the head of a tigress, lion. Right? Lions are aggressive, powerful, and are associated with high growth entrepreneurial ventures, whereas women are associated with low growth. Look, men, they run businesses which contain billions of rupees investment. Women, they run Nanglo Pasal. And if you do a research, go around the town, I bet, take a notebook, go around the town and check all the Nanglo Pasales, you will see 90% of Nanglo Pasales are females. Check it. 90% of Nanglo Pasales, the ladies who have, I don't know what you call in English, the Nanglo Pasal, they have a Nanglo and they sell small items. They are ladies. Whereas the owners of big business houses are male. Jyoti Group, male. Hulas, male. Golcha, male. Golyan, male. All that male. And Nanglo, female. This is sad. This is bad. Why this is happening? Because the assumption is that women cannot be trusted to lead a large business organization. Although this is changing. You just Google and type female business women in Kathmandu and see their portfolio. This particularly occurs and is reinforced in contexts where men are far often than women to be found in leadership positions and in entrepreneurship. To compensate for some of these challenges, women have developed keen now. How do women face this challenge? Women have skills for switching between different gender and leadership identities and styles depending on different contexts, which in turn helps them to further develop their relationship building. And look, women are better at relationship building. Women are better at diplomacy skills. And businesses also require relationship building. Right? At gold shops, at the counter, you don't see waiters, you will see waitresses. In banks where you give your money, you don't see male tellers. Mostly you might see female tellers, right? Read ahead. Research has shown that because women are often associated with being feminine, communal means they support other women, and compassionate, they show kindness to other women or men, as opposed to assertive. Men are assertive, men are dominating, men are independent, which are characteristics associated more often with men. An incongruity, that idea, an incongruity between roles occurs when women's gender roles, caregiving, nurturing, are at odds with perceived leadership characteristics, assertive and competitive. But I will say, a leader should be caregiving. A leader should be nurturing. We are having war in Ukraine because Putin is leading Russia. We are having a war in Ukraine because Zelensky is leading Ukraine. Imagine if a female was leading Russia, and imagine if a female was leading Ukraine. I guess we won't have this war. We are having war because both Russia and Ukraine are led by men who are violent. Okay. These male-female stereotypes, biases, and gender role expectations make entrepreneurial success and growth harder for women than for men. This is conclusion. This is conclusion. That comes at the end of the paragraph. So I stop here. I will read up to certain sections like this. Later, I won't read the whole research paper because there are parts which are not necessary to understand. You can do at your own. But I will explain the three themes like this. My purpose is I am demonstrating you how a researcher should read, with the hope that in future you will read with this seriousness. You will read with this diligence when you become a researcher. Thank you.